Welcome. It's Indisputable. I'm your host, Richey. Good to be with you. We have a lot on the agenda today. Breaking down news of the day, none other than Dan Evans, host Good Morning Bad News, Power Report, and Audio Face. Always a pleasure having his remarkable breakdown. Top story of the day. Donald Trump being indicted is now imminent, at least according to a new report. We're talking about Manhattan DA. Let's put up the picture full mass here. A New York Times report released Thursday revealed Manhattan prosecutors under Alvin Bragg are taking steps consistent with an imminent indictment of Donald Trump for brokering hush money, actual dollar payments to the adult film star Stormy Daniels. And the former president is already responding to the news, naturally. Shortly after the story dropped, Trump's legal team released a furious statement on Twitter, slamming the prosecutors involved in the case. The Trump spokesperson said, and I quote, "The Manhattan district attorney's threat to indict President Trump is simply insane. For the past 5 years, the DA's office has been on a witch hunt, investigating every aspect of President Trump's life. And they've come up empty every turn. And now this, the fact that their intensive investigation, the DA is even considering a new political attack, is a clear exoneration of President Trump in all areas. President Trump was the victim of extortion then, just as he is now. It's an embarrassment to the Democrat prosecutors, and it's an embarrassment to New York City." Yeah, so first of all, I think Donald Trump wrote that himself, as he was accustomed to doing before he became president. Now, let's be very clear about this particular rebuttal. It says nothing rooted in fact, nothing rooted in statute, nothing rooted in an actual proclamation of innocence. It simply says, don't trust the messengers. That is it. So if you don't trust the messengers, you cannot trust the message. It's their point. Bottom line, if Donald Trump is innocent of a particular crime, this is a great thing for Donald Trump and his allies. He has enough influence and money and resources to get proper defense. If he is in fact innocent, this is the best thing that can happen. Why? Because he gets full exoneration. Not the play kind like he did during his presidency. Double jeopardy would be attached, meaning he could not be prosecuted for this crime ever again in the future. So when? If he's innocent, but if he's not, if he actually did engage in criminal misconduct, then you don't want to talk about the facts. You don't need this to go to a jury. You don't need this to go before a judge. Let's be very clear. All of this is happening because of Trump's own criminal activity. He was allowed to operate well outside of the lines of legality prior to being president, while being president, and even post-presidency. As I said before, Donald Trump will be a defendant for the rest of his life in some form. You are seeing that now, so let's count the ways. You have Letitia James, the AG. You have Fani Willis, the DA in Fulton County, Georgia. You now have the Manhattan prosecution. You have the federal grand jury still convened investigating Donald Trump, and there may be more. The new steps by DA Bragg come as multiple other criminal investigations into Trump proceed, including federal probes into the January 6th and the classified document scandal by Special Prosecutor Jack Smith. And Fulton County, Georgia Prosecutor Fani Willis, who was investigating election interference in that state. Bragg has not yet made a formal decision to indict Trump despite clear steps toward doing so. And the grand jury would have to sign off on any charges against him. And I think that's the part Democrats have done an especially poor job at messaging. At the end of the day, the Manhattan DA does not indict, the grand jury does, citizens do. At the end of the day, the DOJ does not indict, the grand jury does, citizens do. At the end of the day, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis does not indict, the grand jury the citizens of Fulton County do. All right, dear brother, what are your thoughts here?
I think when you said that Donald Trump is going to be a defendant for the rest of his life, you're right. I think since he came into office and since he started doing all the things and since he left, whether it was impeachment hearings or whether it's just this week alone, just off the top of my head, that latest book that he has, Letters from Trump, he got all those letters without the rights from any of the people who wrote them, without any of their permission. And these are a lot of powerful people. You're talking Hillary Clinton, you're talking Oprah Winfrey, people who might go, okay, I'll bite and go through a legal proceeding with Donald Trump. The fact is, you're dealing with someone who has gone through his entire life, has been trained by his dad, Fred Trump, to act as though the law does not apply to you, to act as though you're above the law, to act as though, legal hearings and court proceedings are speed bumps, like to the rest of us, right? They're little hints or suggestions. I hope that there is some court, ideally a number of courts, who can finally tell Donald Trump that no, this is the end of the line. You are not above the law, even if you're a former president. But unfortunately, we have yet to actually see the case.
Yeah, well, privilege is a hell of a drug. We will continue to follow this to its completion. Fascinating story. Video captures passengers aboard a plane rumbling. Here it is.
Get off of it.
Stop it.
Get off of it. Let go of him.
Now.
Let go.
You guys
Let go.
stop it.
Let go. You don't never approach me with my family.
Hey.
Stay here.
Stop.
No. Do not hit him again. Don't approach me with my family. Do not hit him again. Don't hit him again. Stay back. Come on. He's not doing it. What happened? I'm telling everybody what happened. He approached me aggressively with my family. I don't play with my family. Tell him what happened. Tell him what you did.
There's no need for that right now.
I will sit down in jail for you approaching my family. I will die for my family. So that's why I beat your ass.
I understand you'll die for your family, sir, but don't take all of us with you. That has to be a scary situation if you are in the air and there's a full brawl. I mean, okay, let me give you the background to this. Really interesting, Southwest Airlines is where it happened. This was on a flight, according to the individuals who are knowledgeable. They say, well, this was about aggressively bumping into the wife of one of the passengers. Let me give you a background to the encounter. The brawl erupted on Monday on a flight from Dallas to Phoenix when the attacker, who was with his wife and kids, accused a heavily tattooed man of being aggressive. Following the incident, witnesses said both men were escorted off the plane, but the Dallas Police Department said no one was arrested, according to Fox News Digital. Let me give you the statement from Southwest. They say, and I quote, "We commend our crew for managing the situation as safety professionals while also ensuring the comfort of the other passengers in the cabin," a Southwest rep told the Post on Wednesday in an email. "We don't have further details to share except that the flight arrived on time and as scheduled," the statement added. That's right, we really were checking to make sure everybody got to their destination on time. So glad you provided that information. All right, dear brother, what are your thoughts here?
I've been on this show and I've been on record for having mixed opinions about plane interactions. So I've got to stand up to that. But no, I really take a worker's angle from this, even from personal experience, from knowing people who work in the aviation industry, and also just having been on a lot of delayed flights because one flight attendant isn't there, right? The aviation industry is really struggling right now, much like the same reason the education sector is struggling, because the labor conditions, you find this in like restaurants, things like that. Things are understaffed because the labor conditions, especially exemplified by COVID-19 and the pandemic, have made it so difficult for people to handle these things that people are going, screw it. I don't want to have to be a personal bodyguard 15,000 feet in the sky all the time. I don't want to have to deal with these situations and deal with this stuff. So they're leaving. This is having like ramifications in our country with flight delays, like Southwest Airlines is astute to point out that they weren't affected by. Good for them. Let's see about some of the other days they have there, because they've had a lot of issues. But at the end of the day, yeah, I think we all need to understand that the aviation industry is hanging by a thread, and there's a lot of stuff we can do politically to make that better. But as everyday people, just keep it in, get to your destination, exchange some words if you need to, but like don't cause an altercation like that. You're just making it harder for the workers. That's not cool.
Yeah, and listen, sometimes the pilot will ground the plane when something like that happens. Obviously, that would create significant disruption to anyone's schedule. Okay, fire chief, according to authorities, he got sticky fingers, stole money, according to their narrative. Let's put his picture up full mass. This is out of the state of Georgia. Details are still coming. We don't have full detail yet. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation say agents arrested the Peach County, Georgia fire chief. He also serves as the EMA director. His name is Jeff Doles. Jeff, this week, has been arrested on roughly a dozen charges connected to allegations of theft and financial fraud. Now, this sounds very heavy. So how did he get access to money? According to officials, the Peach County Sheriff's Office, which is the local jurisdiction, they requested a GBI investigation. This was on December 5th, 2022. The Sheriff's Office requested this investigation because they believed something was happening illegal. They wanted them to look into allegations. Doles used a county fuel card for personal purchases. After the investigation, agents charged Doles with 6 counts of financial transaction card fraud and 6 counts of theft by taking. The case has now been given over to the Bibb County Judicial Circuit. This is the DA's office in that district. They will now prosecute. Here's the thing. We have seen stories like this time and time again in government where a person utilizes the gas card. Some governments have what's called the P card. And they will use these P cards indiscriminately where personal purchases are made as well as bona fide government purchases. There's a very simple solution here. Don't take the damn card, period. There's another way to do this. If you have to get something that is a county function like gas, put in the reimbursement. So we don't know exactly how much money total. I'm sure that will come out within the next few days. But if this is about a gas card, obviously a technical violation. If he has been utilizing it since 2022, it seems as if somebody would have caught on before. Or maybe there's more to it. As I said, details are still coming in. Fire chief arrested by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. All right, Dan, thoughts here?
It's when these kind of things happen, especially with government employees, it's stealing from us. It's stealing from people who pay into these communities. And I say us, I'm not a resident of Georgia, but there's still something to be mindful of. When it comes to stipends, I think, or like when it comes to not having those like kind of P cards, I'm sympathetic to in the sense of like sometimes workers are made when they're not being paid a lot of money to buy things on their own and not being given any money for that. So I'm down for like stipends and then reimbursements in that regard. I don't think the fire chief has that kind of problem. You oftentimes see that kind of waste in like middle and upper management where it's like, okay, did you really need that drink? Okay, did you really need those cars? It's like, okay, like usually it's those people who don't or shouldn't have problems with, okay, a $25 reimbursement or okay, they're driving a truck, all right? It's Georgia, they're driving a truck, all right? A $70 reimbursement for a gas, that shouldn't be insane. So this is waste, it's stealing from people, and I hope it's investigated fully and he's punished for it so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, and I'm going to be interested to know, did they give him an opportunity to reconcile? I know of some cases where a person utilized the card, kind of a mistake, or at least they could get away with saying it was because they did not do it excessively. And they were given an opportunity to reconcile the difference. He may have been granted that opportunity if it was not aggressive. So I'm looking forward to see how much money this guy actually stole, according to the authorities. We got more. On the other side, it's indisputable, stick and stay. Welcome back. A lot of show left. Let me read some of these amazing comments and some updates. All right. If you would like to continue platform of truth giving, I have a new show on Sirius XM Urban View. It airs look at that graphic. I didn't even do that. I did not know they did that. That is beautiful. Thank you to the production team. Urban View. It's called the Rashad Richey Review. You can tune in every Sunday on Sirius XM at 1 p.m. And I think they replay it at 9 p.m. Eastern time. All right, we'd love to see you there. Best 1 hour of your weekend. I wrap up everything for you in a nice package. Cut all the fat, trim all the sides. You get it straight. All right, we got a lot of comments. I will read as many as I can. Lynn says there appear to be similarities between Trump and the Murdoch family. Yeah, let's hope that includes at least one guilty conviction for Trump. Tyler Hagner, thank you, Tyler. I believe it when I see it. We've seen this before. That's very true. All right, that's a funny cartoon. All right, Alex, fire chief, I'm stealing 5 segways at once. Yeah. Member for 9 months, Viting Gale, thank you so much for being such a strong supporter. All right, thumbs up me, like number 34, click like and get out on the dance floor. Dragon Squad and Bullpen Bovies, the mods. I like that. It's creative. Devil Dog Dragon, Doc, it would definitely be interesting to see if they make that fire chief pay back the money he used in order to keep him out of jail. Anyone else would have been locked up even after payment. That's right. I've seen that before too. They paid it back well before trial, did not matter. Crime had been committed. The only thing they got was you paid your restitution early. That's it. All right, got something for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free. Back off.
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Hey, boss, I just have a question. I'm not trying to be rude, but isn't this kind of crazy for the horses? You guys aren't security or anything. Is this just you showing off your horse because it's cool, or is this really cool for the horse?
No, we're doing it because we enjoy it.
I know, but you enjoy it, but do the horses really enjoy it, though?
I think they enjoy it. Does he look stressed to you?
Yeah, there's a lot of people. If he kicks me right now, so if I touch the horse right now, what's going to happen?
Nothing. Touch him.
I know, but what if some little kid walks up and wants to touch the horse, what happens? You're speaking on the behalf of an animal that you can only control.
On behalf of the animal that is mine, I know my animal. If this wasn't secure for
Hey,
me,
buddy.
I would not be here.
No, that's nice, but what about little kids? Yeah,
I'm confused. At first, I thought he had maybe a legitimate point. And then he got into the what ifs. And it became ridiculous. Let's put up the picture full mask. Sir, if you were concerned about the animal being violent, why did you touch the horse yourself? You seem very comfortable with this large animal. And I have to conclude you were simply being a Karen. All right, Dan, I thought when he approached them, he was going to say something prolific, maybe philosophical, at least interesting. Just seems like he wanted to bother somebody by the end of that exchange. What are your thoughts?
No, I care very much about animal rights. I've been a vegetarian for almost a decade. I'm trying to slowly make my way towards being a vegan. The cheeses are getting better. But I appreciate the compassion and concern for animals, but you always have to, and I think whether it's in animal rights or in a lot of political spaces, you have to figure out how your message is most effective to a person in the right situation. Otherwise, you're just turning people off. Otherwise, you're just not making sense here. This seems like someone who spends a lot of time online and they take in all these different things that are bad about treating animals, and they want to just attack people out there. But if you're gonna put people on blast, if you're gonna record them and come at them, that's probably not the best way for them to learn a lesson. Also, if you're gonna worried about the animals being stressed out, why are you, someone who they've never seen before, going to touch and pet them? It's a very savory complex sort of coming from this man, and I'm feeling nice today, so I'll leave it there.
All right, there you go. Okay, remember the murderer, the man who killed a protester, okay? Well, he's not exactly a model prisoner. Let's put the picture up full mass. I will remind you of the background. Charlottesville car attacker killer has now been caught with a weapon. James Alex Field, the Ohio white supremacist who's currently serving a life sentence for the deadly car ramming death of Heather Heyer. At the 2017 Unite the Right rally, remember that? This was in Charlottesville. He is now accused of a string of misconduct at the federal prison in Springfield. Now, obviously, I expect Marjorie Taylor Greene at any moment to launch an affirmative defense for his shenanigans. Fields pleaded guilty to a series of federal hate crimes in connection to the car attack, which killed the 32-year-old and wounded dozens more. These were counter-protesters. They were counter-protesting the white supremacist. This is when Donald Trump said, actually, really good people on both sides here, okay? The revelations have surfaced, according to the DOJ, as the Justice Department seeks to seize hundreds of dollars in Fields' prison inmate account to help pay for nearly $81,000 in unpaid restitution and fine costs from his criminal case. The Justice Department also said Fields has yet to pay fines for the misconduct in which he allegedly engaged while in prison. According to a court filing from prosecutors, Fields was fined $250 for possessing a dangerous homemade weapon in December 2020 while serving his term. Prison records also show Fields was accused of another incident weeks later. The records allege he made a threatening remark to an officer in January 2021. Other incidents of misconduct, including being insolent to prison staff and refusing to appear at a hearing. The records also shed light on the disciplinary actions utilized by prison officials in cases like Fields. The records list, and I quote, punishment for misconduct included seizing of his personal property, suspension of personal phone and email privileges, monetary fines, and the removal of his mattress during daylight hours. In court filings earlier this year, prosecutors alerted a federal judge in Charlottesville that Fields has obtained, and I quote, substantial fund in his prisoner inmate account, though the Justice Department sealed the names of the suspected donors. Testimony in a federal civil lawsuit against Fields indicated a known white supremacist had contributed the money. A known white supremacist contributed the money, while others had sent correspondence in the past 5 years. Now, before I move on, please understand, don't gloss over the fact that the federal government has decided to intentionally not let anyone know who gave him the money. You know, they could have just said, that's none of our business. We're not going to go the extra mile and seal any of this. If somebody wants to send money to a known killer who is a white supremacist, so be it. Go through the channels, the normative process to find out who it is. We won't get involved. So why in the world would the DOJ literally get in the middle of sealing the identity or identities of individuals who have given him substantial funding? Prosecutors are seeking to seize the money to use for unpaid fines and restitution ordered by the federal court as part of Fields' plea. In a new court filing, the Justice Department said the Bureau of Prisons does not unilaterally seize money from an inmate's account, even to pay fines incurred for misconduct in the prison. That is true. They don't seize it, but they can freeze it. All right, they are able to do that through an administrative dynamic. I checked earlier today. So what in the hell is going on? All right, Dan, thoughts here.
this highlights, one example of many, why people don't really trust the justice system to handle and impart justice fairly. You look at this person, he's been convicted of killing Heather Heyer in this like white supremacist incident. We've seen it's a hate crime, we've seen that it's a murder. And in other situations, the point where it's been parodied in movies and TV shows. Gangs, when one of their own gets caught up and put in jail, they get taken care of. That's the whole point. That's like part of the brotherhood of that. So the federal government, like you're pointing out here, is going, we're acknowledging that this is some kind of gang affiliation. He's part of this white nationalist group, this white nationalist thinking of a replacement theory. We know it's a hate crime. We know it's a hate group. We know he's getting a lot of money from at least one person affiliated with them. And we're not gonna do anything about it. We're just gonna move that forward. And that is something that you wanna remember as one instance in many of the history of this country, the recent history of this country to this present day, but even going back the past 10, 20, 50, 60 years, where justice is handled a little bit impartially or a lot with a little bit of a lighter, strong fist than you would see it in other cases. And then you put some other dots together and you start to form your other opinions about this government and who it really works for.
Yeah, it is so interesting that they seal the identity or identities, because literally once a person submits that kind of money on record to a federal prison or to a prisoner, that becomes a public record. That public record is discoverable. That public record can be obtained through the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, open records request. That is statutory. The fact that they sealed it keeps it away from people like me writing that email or sending that letter and getting that name. I need to know why. All right, we got more on the other side. It's Indisputable. Stick and stay. All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. We got a lot of comments. Let me read as many as I can. I appreciate you all. Membership, all right? You're no longer just a viewer. You have become a TYT member. Let's make this happen together. If you're not, you can do so now. You're a leader, fighter, a game changer, all right? Someone who believes wholeheartedly in bringing positive change to the world, that would be you. Every membership makes a monumental difference right here at TYT and beyond. Bold, progressive, live commentary. I want you to become a member today. TYT.com/join, TYT.com/join. All right, let me read some of these beautiful comments. Lynn says, Mel Karen should be more compassionate as he appears to be a horse's ass. I see what you did there, like that. Okay, Stop Dragon says, I'm a vegan and can categorically say that Mel Karen's behavior is why people have no patience for some of us. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. All right, Big Daddy 20,000 Dragon is gifting 10 tier 1 subs to TYT's community. They've gifted 15 overall. Thank you so much for your continued support. All right, we have an indisputable exclusive. Fascinating story. A woman literally makes up an entire narrative that she is being attacked by an actor. Here it is.
You know I live right here. You understand I live right here, right? I don't care. I don't care. You don't care, I don't care.
Wild.
Yes, there's some very suspicious people, and they're gonna rob and steal and kill people. We're at 4353 Colfax Avenue. Please come in a hurry. They're in private property where they're not supposed to be, and they won't get out. This is a condo building, and they won't get out. And they have no.
You heard what she said, right? She told the police that these people were committing felonies, dangerous felonies. That is a life or death situation being created over the phone. Let's put up the actor she called 911 on, Amir Mustafi. A woman in Studio City, California, called the police on an actor riding his bike around his own neighborhood. The writer, actor, and producer was riding around the 4300 block of Colfax for a screen test. Showmakers wanted to see what he looked like on a bicycle. What they do. The woman, who appears to be on the phone with police, says, and I quote, "There are some very suspicious people and they're going to rob and steal and kill people." Once again, creating a life or death situation. Police come, guns blazing, black man on bike must be the suspect. Let's shoot now and ask questions never. Amir said she pulled up in her car to stop the couple filming, claiming the alley was a private property. At the end of her call, she says, "Please come in a hurry." Amir's girlfriend, Robin, says she tried to de-escalate the situation. Here's a quote directly to Indisputable. "I heard Amir say something like, uh-oh, looks like a Karen. So he suggested I walk down toward the street. I was standing there filming him, looping a couple of times. She started screaming and said she would call the police. That's when I caught her making the phone call. And she started acting really weird. Automatically, I thought, this is how people, especially people of color, get shot by police." That's exactly right. Amir says he believes the woman questioned him because of his race. Here's his quote. "If you're saying I look suspicious and I'm going to rob and murder people when I'm wearing a bike helmet, I don't know if that's consistent with a robber or murderer. You shouldn't think so because it's LA. There's a lot of different ethnicities here, but I don't know what else it could have been." Once again, a direct quote to Indisputable investigates. A representative of the Los Angeles Police Department directed Indisputable to a police report for burglary filed on March 5th in that part of the city. Indisputable filed a open records request for the report. I will provide that report if it exists. Hell of a story. Very dangerous. You can't make light of something like this. Now, what should happen next? What should happen next? You see the video, the evidence is there. Who committed a crime? She did. I know she's up in age, but remember, they have locked up elderly black women for not paying their trash bill. We've reported on that right here. Literally, a cop went to the house, put handcuffs on an elderly black woman because she did not pay a trash bill. It got sent to a collections department. That collections department set a court date. She missed the court date and they put a warrant out for her arrest. Nobody cared about her age. This woman literally created a dangerous situation intentionally. Was deceitful intentionally. And it could have caused a significant disaster in that community. So I have no patience. Someone should be very clear. What she did was unlawful. All right, Dan, thoughts here.
What she did was attempt to weaponize the police department, the Los Angeles Police Department, which is no friend of people of color or anyone that for that matter. And specifically said, oh, this person walking a bike who's not bothering anyone, who's just, talking about stuff, and this other person filming, as you do in Los Angeles, they're a threat. I'm going to sick the police on them. I'm going to weaponize the police. I'm going to say that they're robbing and stealing and killing. And that is just going to get reported all over the police radios. And the cops are going to come with that response. This is America. That's how it goes. And so not only is that despicable, not only is that horrifying, it is, I remember Ron DeSantis, just to your point, put people who had served their jail sentences, who previously had felony convictions, who had won the right to vote. He had them arrested and had camera crews ready to go to take photos of that as a photo op for people who were elderly who just tried to vote, all right? So just like you're saying, don't tell me that it's too much to go after someone just because of their age. This is an attempted murder, essentially, based on how we know police are going here. So there needs to be much more accountability on false police report alone for this kind of nonsense.
Very well said. We will continue to follow this, see if it develops this week, next week, something. All right. Jury awards $8 million because a family was wrongfully detained at Starbucks. This is a hell of a video. Let me show you the first one. Here it is.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Fine.
What are you guys doing here?
Waiting to go to Starbucks in a second. Why? Is there a problem? We can't sit here?
Well, actually, let me tell you why I'm here. Okay. I've been having auto break-ins in this parking lot every morning around this time.
Thank you very much.
So I've been driving around here. Okay. And I noticed that you guys aren't doing nothing but hanging out.
Yeah, I just got in from
And
Vegas.
Okay. Well,
this morning. I've been driving all night.
Okay.
It takes 8 hours to get here.
Well, relax. That's my reason why I'm talking to you.
I'm from here, so I'm not. Okay. We're in a car from the Bay Area, from Oakland.
Okay.
Just because it's got Nevada plates, it's not a.
It's not a Nevada car.
No, I'm not Nevada. I'm
you have your ID on you?
Yeah. Okay, so wait a minute. Now, why you asking me for my ID? You just explained to me about the break-in.
Right.
But why did you explain to me about the my ID? What's that about? What did I do? What kind of crime did I commit?
What kind of crime did you commit?
Yeah, I'm asking you. You asked me for my ID.
Yeah, you have to give me your ID.
Why do I have to give you my ID?
Why?
I don't have to give you my ID because I haven't did anything. You started talking about a break-in.
Okay.
I thanked you for informing me that.
Right.
I informed you that I'm resting because I'm about to go into Starbucks, right? I informed you I've been driving all night, right?
Well, Starbucks has been open for about 2 hours.
It's actually been open since 5. I checked my GPS. Okay.
Are you doing anything wrong?
No, I'm not.
So then what's the big deal?
I don't have to give you my ID. I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't. No, I don't. No,
you don't?
I know the law. I don't have to give you my ID. I'm not doing anything wrong.
I got more video. Now remember, this cop is making an $8 million disaster intentionally, defunding the police. People don't have a problem with that on the right when the police defund the police. Here's how it escalated.
So what you're doing now is leading me to believe that you might be doing something wrong.
No, I'm not doing that, so don't try to trump up no charges. I saw like get your phone out, start recording. Start recording right now, honey.
Why are you getting so worked up?
Because I gotta have protection. Because I don't know where this is about to go. I gotta have protection.
Well, it's not gonna go anywhere if you cooperate. Okay, they don't want to listen to us, so let's go ahead and detain these two.
No, you're not gonna detain them. No, you're not gonna detain them. We haven't did anything. We have not did anything.
You're gonna start the car. Get out of the car.
No.
Get out of the car.
Roll the window down.
Get out of the car.
No, I'm rolling the window down.
Get out of the car. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. You're being detained.
No, I'm not being detained. For what?
You're being detained.
For what?
Put your hand behind your back or you're gonna go to jail.
No, I'm not going to jail. And you're not No, we're getting the attorney. We're getting an attorney right now. We haven't, excuse me, we haven't did anything. So can you get I asked for, I don't have a weapon on me.
I'm just checking.
I asked for his superior, his supervisor. I asked for a supervisor.
Grab his.
Isn't that how things work, man?
No, what are you talking about? We haven't did anything.
Take your feet up.
You don't demand what we do.
No, I'm not demanding anything.
A black mother was simply in a car with her 2 daughters. They arrest the entire family. This cop is supposed to be a detective. He goes up to a car. You tell me, detective, you mean to say you thought this woman with her 2 children in the vehicle outside of Starbucks that they were carjacking? What kind of detective are you if you really believe that? I don't think you believe that at all, officer. I think you wanted to put some black people in their place, so to speak. It has now cost the taxpayers $8 million. Let me give you background to the encounter. September 2019, after a long drive from the family's home in Las Vegas, Asili Lagerville and her 2 daughters stopped at a Starbucks, Castro Valley, California. They were on a 9-hour journey, as she explained, to drop the older daughter at Berkeley City College. It was for a statistics exam. You know how difficult statistics exams are? Following the police encounter, according to Lauderdale's attorney, Craig Peters, the older daughter, who had planned to transfer from her community college to UCLA, arrived 40 minutes late to the exam and scored a C, bringing down her straight A record to a B. According to Lauderdale's attorney, Craig Peters, an internal investigation found that the deputies did nothing wrong and have since been promoted, according to KTVU. There's more. Nevertheless, a jury on Wednesday awarded the family $8.25 million in damages after a verdict released on March 1 that decided against the deputies and Alameda County. Peter said the sum was increased by the Bain Act, a California law that allows juries to quadruple damages awarded in cases that involve constitutional right violations. The Washington Post reported. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that fascinating? Okay, so they do an internal investigation. No wrongdoing here. All rights were within reason. Everybody was respected. My officers did nothing wrong, nothing to see. As a matter of fact, we're going to give them a promotion. It gets outside of the bubble of the good old boy law enforcement system. In front of a jury, they were impartial. Some of them like the police. Some of them may not like police misconduct, but it's not the police investigating the police. It's the fact finder, the jury member. When it goes to a jury, the jury says, I don't give a damn that you said there's no wrongdoing. I don't care that you gave them a promotion and a raise. What happened here was unconstitutional, and the family will be awarded accordingly. Big ups to the jury for making the right decision. Put up the leadership here. At the time of the encounter, Gregory Ahern was the Alameda County sheriff. Back in November, he lost his office to the current sheriff, Sanchez. All right, so you're looking at 1-2 combo. Quite fascinating. $8 million plus actually. Why? Because the police refuse to respect the rights of a black person again, or black family. When will conservatives get outraged by outrageous cops who continue to take money from hardworking taxpayers in the local community? Now, I promise if I went to that community and held a press conference and just uttered the word, defund the police, all types of conservatives will come out against me. But when an officer actually defunds the police of $8 million plus, not a peep from conservative. Why? Because they are okay with the narrative. As long as you are violating the rights of black people, you can take as much money as you choose from our communities and we won't say a word. How insane is that? So do you think it's about money? Of course not. All right, thoughts?
First of all, the Alameda County sheriffs hate communities of color and they only show up after crimes have happened. So I absolutely despise them, have personal dealings with them. This absolutely doesn't surprise me at all. That cop told himself when he was saying, you just show me your ID if nothing's going on. And the woman rightly said, I'm doing nothing wrong, so I have no reason to show you my ID. And then the cop went back and said, well, yeah, you're doing nothing wrong, so show me your ID. They told themselves then, and then they told themselves again when they did their own internal investigation and found, we did nothing wrong and we're actually giving promotions. Because that's exactly what we're saying. It's cop culture. That's the issue, it's the culture. That's what the activists are saying, it's the culture. And I love your framing where you're saying that, okay, now at this point, the cops are defunding themselves. Thanks to that Bain Act, we're doing quadruple points on that. That's every once in a while, gas prices suck, traffic's terrible. California rocks every once in a while. That's a nice one. That's a good bill.
Yeah, I mean, that was meant, the Bain Act was meant to do exactly what it did in this case, to create such a penalty under the monetary dynamic that it would cause an example to be set for other departments to get in line. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable, stick and stay. Welcome back. Always good to be with you. We got a lot of comments. I'll read as many as I can. Okay, Mickey C, the silver-haired dragon says, good looking man. I'd be happy to meet him, but I wouldn't do it by involving the police. Smiley face. Look at you. You need to calm down. All right. Okay, so Life gifted 5 indisputable memberships. Thank you so much for doing that. We appreciate the support. C. Michael Henson, thank you, C. Michael. There needs to be a law that makes a frivolous 911 call like that a felony. Too many people have been killed by police for no reason. There are laws, they call them Karen laws. The problem is typically they're misdemeanors. If you do them often, some jurisdictions will grant a felony charge for doing it 4 or 5 times. But I agree with you. I think 1 time is enough. If you are intentionally trying to get somebody harmed by the police, 1 time should be enough. All right.
I hate that there's precedent for repeat offenses.
I know,
of Karen. That's wild.
It's insane, but it's real. All right, a cop has now been charged with the murder of a black man inside of a car sleeping. It's a damn shame. I want to take you to the video. We'll get into the background. Here it is.
No, but he's waking up though. Hey, bring me some more light. Oh, he's waking up. Watch it. Wash the hands. Hey, put the light on him. Hey, come closer now. Move up closer. Move up. Where's the gun there? Should we knock? Hey, you might want to step out of the way, man. The guys aren't the target. Now you're gonna scare him. Watch it. Hey, I can't see his hands. Hey, come closer, put the light on his hand. No. Knock on the window.
You all ready?
Yeah, I see him.
All ready now?
I see him. He ain't waking up.
Don't move.
Don't move. Watch the hands. Please, don't move.
No threat. No threat. Let's put the picture up. Full mass. A cop has now been charged. His name is Sergeant Enos Jeverick, and other officers decided to surround Antoine Gilmore. And then this sergeant decided to just fire. The U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia unsealed a federal indictment Tuesday, charging D.C. Metropolitan Police Sergeant Enos Jeverick, 41 years of age, with second-degree murder. And also, they added a federal civil rights violation in the fatal August 2021 shooting of Antoine Gilmore, 27, who was asleep in his car. The indictment charges this sergeant who violated Mr. Gilmore's civil rights by willfully depriving him of his right to be free from the use of excessive force. It carries a maximum of life in prison. The shooting occurred after reports of a man sleeping or unconscious behind the wheel of a black BMW at a spotlight in Northeast Washington around 3 a.m. This was August 25th, 2021. According to the police department, an officer approached the car and spotted a handgun tucked into the man's waistband. Reinforcement were called in as several officers approached the car behind a bulletproof ballistic shield. Body camera footage shows a crowd of officers approaching the car, tapping on the window. There's more. When Mr. Gilmore awoke and began to drive away, obviously out of fear, the sergeant fired at least 10 rounds at the car in a use of deadly force that appeared to violate DC Police Department policies against shooting at moving vehicles. Police Chief Robert J. Conti III said at the time, after the sergeant opened fire, the BMW crashed into a tree, and Mr. Gilmore was found fatally wounded in the driver's seat. The loaded handgun that officers observed when they first encountered him was still in the right side of his waistband. Can I remind everyone that every person in America, virtually, adult, you have the right to bear arms. The Constitution says it. Typically, conservatives will talk about how this is a fundamental right. then all of a sudden, when a black man has an exercise of this right, there's an assumption he's a criminal. He has violated the law. It's a damn shame. Police have said that crucial moments leading up to the shooting from the body camera were obscured by the ballistic shield he was carrying. It was not clear what other officers saw. The sergeant was the only officer of about 6 at the scene who fired a gun. Now, I've said this to you before, because we've seen one cop fire and nobody else, no other cop, open fire. We've talked about this right here. What does that mean? That means that no other police officer thought it was a situation where you needed to open fire. Only one did. Police have said that they do not know precisely what happened inside the car when Gilmore stirred as police knocked on the window, or why the sergeant fired. The sergeant did not give a statement to detectives, as was his right, while prosecutors reviewed the shooting. He has declined to comment publicly on the shooting. Let's go to this council member who had a very credible and common sense statement, okay? Janice Lewis George. Sitting here trying to figure out how law enforcement can successfully de-escalate a white domestic terrorist in a truck threatening to blow up the Capitol with a bomb, but not a black man who fell asleep in his car. Wasn't even antithetical to police. Committed no crime. Was terrified. Looks like he had a right to be. All right, I'm very thankful that the district prosecutor did pick this up. If we had the George Floyd Policing and Accountability Act, we can have more arrests like this, because it would actually create a standard of equivocation. Their standard would be your standard, all right? We need that on the books ASAP. Dan, thoughts here?
If these police were worth a damn, they would actually be able to protect and serve from a sleeping black man in a non-moving car. Like you said, this is America. We've laid that bed. Everyone, as an adult, has the right to have a peace with them in most places. So yeah, sure, you deal with that. But if a person is in an intersection and they're sleeping, let's say maybe they're intoxicated, it's the middle of the night. Sure, the car's not moving. You're cops. Just corner them in, let them wake up. There's so many ways to de-escalate that situation. Perhaps the easiest situation to de-escalate that you as a cop will deal with then didn't have to end with taking that man's life. So it's horrifying. I'm glad there's a little bit of justice here that usually isn't.
Yeah, there you go. All right, the number one black white supremacist in America, Candace Owens. Candace Owens has decided to defend a person who is on the chopping block for being racist because of his own comments. Here it is.
With all of the money in the world, would you choose to live in an all-black neighborhood? I want you to think about that. Whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, would you choose to live in an all-black neighborhood? Be honest with yourself.
So here I'm just quoting Don Lemon when he notes that when he lived in a mostly black neighborhood, there were a bunch of problems that he didn't see in white neighborhoods. So even Don Lemon sees a big difference in your own quality of living based on where you live and who's there.
Did Don Lemon actually say that? Does Don Lemon actually believe that white neighborhoods are different than black neighborhoods? I would imagine he's not the only one, considering every time a black person gets any money, they don't choose to go move into black neighborhoods, even though they can certainly afford to. Looking at you, LeBron James, looking at you, Patrisse Cullors, looking at you, Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade, who just sat up on stage and told us that black trans people were being hunted and that black people needed to really care about this specific issue. None of these people are living in black neighborhoods. No, they're living in white neighborhoods, far away from all of the drama that they love to comment on. Why is that? Why didn't LeBron James take his many millions and build a giant home in the middle of the south side of Chicago? Why didn't he do that? What is he afraid of? Who is he afraid of? What is it that he doesn't want to live around?
Well, first of all, Candace, you are factually incorrect. But to the sentiment of the neighborhood dynamic, Candace, do you live in a trailer park of all white people? That's a white community, is it not? Why don't you take your money and move there? Because there are communities that would accept you. You see, when we get involved in these tropes that are community-based and say, well, he has money, won't stay around black people. No, that's not the issue. The issue is more complex than that, and you actually said it and did not catch it. So let me first highlight this tweet. Let's put it up. Candace has been misusing information to disparage black communities and leaders such as LeBron James with defamatory remarks. Candace Owens says, why does this happen? Because pea-brained celebrities that are idolized like King James tell young black men that they are literally being hunted. It says the natural result of such hyperbolic, dishonest rhetoric, the racist, anti-police, Black Lives Matter lie is to blame. Meanwhile, LeBron James of Ohio has been working as a philanthropist, giving back to the community. He is a real leader, a change maker, and the community benefits. Let's go to it.
When I come home, like it could be 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, I'll just get in my car, roll down the window, and just ride around town, just like going to like different landmarks where I grew up and different gyms that I might have played in, or it just settles me, I guess. We are right now at House 330. When I was a kid, I came here for banquets after basketball tournaments. For us now to like own this place, it's gonna be another resource for our families. The whole museum here. To gather, to eat, to enjoy. We're gonna have workplaces here for them to learn, and I can't wait for it all to come together.
He owns a home. He owns a home there, contrary to Candace's remarks. She was factually wrong. And among his community missions are House 330, a community center designed to meet community needs such as financial advice. I promise a public school he funded to help at-risk children. And now he has a new mission to develop that was seen there. It's a medical facility. A medical facility to offer full medical, dental, and eye care along with low-cost pharmacy to the people of Akron, Ohio. Candace Owens lied on LeBron James. Candace Owens is not going to correct her narrative. Her sentiment is incorrect overall, but specifically, she said, why won't LeBron James build a house in his black community? Not only did he build a house there, he built a school, building a hospital. Are you going to say to LeBron, I'm sorry? Are you going to say that's the kind of example I was talking about? Way to go, LeBron. Of course not. You'd rather spend your airtime defending racist ass white men. Because Candace, you are a sellout. You literally take money to take a position adversarial to the community who produced you. All right, Dan, thoughts here.
She's a sellout. She is willing to be this mirror for largely male white thinking about a framing about society. But even her analysis, she's also just like bad at her job. She's also just not very smart. This is someone who Joe Rogan was able to correct from the left, all right? This is just not someone who's that smart. And the biggest thing you see there is, oh, how come black people never move to black communities? It's like, no, how come rich people never move to poor communities? How come we have poor communities? How come we have a lot of communities that are disproportionately black or brown or like any of these other groups? How come you have different outcomes from those other communities? Those are questions that it would cost Candace money to answer because she makes more money being this conservative, this person who is a black face on white male supremacy. So those are the things that she just conveniently glosses over, but it's important that we break that down because you can get caught in thinking this is all a racial thing. Race is important, but class is also important, and you need to have the two together.
Very well said, dear brother. Always a pleasure having you on the program. Tell people how they can follow you, check out your great work.
Check me out at Dan from the Web on Twitter while it's still there. YouTube.com/Dan from the Internet for Power Report and YouTube.com/AudiofacePod for AudioFace. Thank you very much for having me on the show, Doctor. Great to be with you, and shout out to the TYT team. Love y'all.
Love you back, man. Always a pleasure having you. We got more on the other side. The bullpen is next. Stick and stay. Welcome back. We have a lot of show left. Let me read a couple of comments. Soul Life gifted 5 indisputable memberships. Thank you again. Also, that's a lot. Okay. C. Michael Henson, this needs to be, right, I read that. It needs to be a law for 911 calls that will make it a felony. And FFS let me have a username. Got it. In California, she can be charged with several misdemeanors, but not any felonies that I can find. That's correct. There is a repeat pattern dynamic, rarely ever used, but it's on the books and effective if they do not enforce it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the bullpen. In the bullpen today, we have a survivor of significant police misconduct and his attorney. We covered this story earlier during the week as an update. Let me remind you of the horror of one man being shot at damn near 100 times by the police. Here it is. It's a damn shame. We have Jonathan Strickland, father of 2. The brother supports wildlife, has been a leader advocate. We have his attorney, DeWitt M. Lacey. This has been something our viewers have been angry about just as well as me. Before we start with the attorney, Jonathan, I have to say, brother, I have to ask, what was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die. I mean, your life flashes, before your eyes. You feel the pain, the heat of your skin, of your muscle tissue just searing. And I just remember the pain and just thinking of my children. At the time, my youngest son was not born. And all I could think of was wanting to meet him, wanting to get back to my oldest son, Jedediah. And it's a miracle that I'm here, but all I could think of was just wanting to get back to my children.
Attorney Lacey, can you give us the contextualization of what transpired that led the police to shoot at one person damn near 100 times, unarmed and no threat to law enforcement?
Absolutely, Dr. Richey, and thanks for having us on here.
Yes,
what happened right before this shooting were these officers were informed by Mr. Strickland's ex-wife. that Mr. Strickland intended on coming to the police station and shooting up all the police and having this monstrous shootout with law enforcement. And so they were definitely amped up. But they had seen before they engaged with Mr. Strickland that he was unarmed. They had a drone come out and survey. They could see he had nothing in his hands besides his phone and his water. They gave him no commands to stop or halt. They only acted very aggressively and violently and unconstitutionally, I would add.
You, Attorney Lacey, you do these cases. You are one of those social justice fighters who holds people accountable. You hold the cops accountable, you hold government accountable. Have you ever seen anything so blatant? 90 bullets. I have never reported on 90 bullets flying at one person before. Have you seen something this extreme?
Not often. I'll tell you, there definitely have been times. I do remember circumstances, even in Stockton, California, where there were a hail of bullets, but not for something where there's a person that's unarmed, right? And there was no real specific crime they could say that he had committed, other than allegations that had been made against him at the time.
This happened in Las Cruces, New Mexico. And Jonathan, Mr. Strickland, let me ask you this. When this took place, you were in knowledge of the pursuit. Did you have any idea that they were going to start firing at you?
No, Dr. Rashad Richey. I had no idea. I didn't understand why they were ramming into me, why they didn't say any commands. I mean, you using assault rifles, you reload. I mean, so to show everybody, my hands were up. This shows that I got hit right here, everywhere is across the back. But the fact is, I had my hands up. And they could not hear me yelling, I'm unarmed repeatedly. So after they reloaded, I thought when I heard the brief moment and not hearing any bullets firing at me, I'm like, thankful, it's finally over. And then when they kept shooting, I really thought I was gonna die. And I just would like for the viewers to know that when you see that picture of my truck and that blood stain on the ground, that's all from what hit me in my hip. And I still have a bullet in my pelvis there. Like that, all that blood was from just one spot. And just imagine losing all of that blood. You really, your life flashes before your eyes. I really thought I was gonna die.
I'm glad you're still here. It's a miracle, as you say. You are still here. You're an active father. But
yes.
I have to pose a question to you, and it's not going to be easy, brother. The way this happened was that your wife called the police and said you were going to harm officers, you would not surrender. Indisputable received another document where she said, I made all of that up and I'm sorry, okay? Do you think her race has something to do with the way they responded to you?
I strongly do, Dr. Rashad Richey. Think about it. We've seen it before, and I hate to bring up history, but I think it's very relevant. But Emmett Till, he lost his life because a white woman lied. He doesn't get to come back. I shouldn't be here. It's a miracle I'm here. My ex lied, and I would like for people to realize, why would anybody in their right mind return to somebody who tried to have them assassinated? All I've ever wanted to do is be there for my children. I love my boys. That's my pride and joy as my sons. I'm blessed that having one son was a dream come true, and having two is just absolute, it's like a dream come true every day. But to not even be able to see my children, it's been 2 years since this. Justice to me, truthfully, Dr. Rashad Richey, is just being able to see my children. Everything that happened to me was absolutely unacceptable. But in all of it, I just want to be able to get back to my children and teach them about animals and just loving nature. That's all I really want to do, Dr. Rashad Richey.
Did your ex receive any criminal penalty once she admitted she made it up and lied to the police and it almost got you killed?
No, she has not faced any retaliation. And actually, Dr. Rashad Richey, she was residing with my mother for the year while I was incarcerated. So
wow,
I haven't gotten to see my children. On my youngest son's first birthday, while I was crying from a jail cell, just wishing I could be there and tell him happy birthday, my ex and my mom were smiling, taking pictures, having fun at Disney World, So I just want to be able to see my children. I'm still not allowed to see them. I'm still facing, obviously, charges, even though I'm confident in a court of law that we'll be able to prove without a doubt, favorable reasoning in my case. But I just want to be allowed to see my children. I'm glad that I'm allowed to still be able to live. But Dr. Rashad Richey, I just think it's important for people to know if I didn't survive, nobody would have ever heard my story.
You make a compelling point, and you're absolutely correct. If you would have died, the complete narrative would have lacked perspective and context from you. The complete narrative would have been absent of your actual truth. What injuries did you sustain?
Well, I'll walk with a limp for the rest of my life. So I have a bullet lodged deep inside my pelvis. They cannot remove it because they said if they were to try to remove it, I would probably lose so much blood that I would bleed out. I have a bullet, like fragments in my shoulder right here. So when it entered my back, it was very close to my spine, and luckily it didn't hit it, but it's still lodged there. I'm in pain all the time. Even sitting up right now, it hurts. But I look at it as I would rather have these injuries and be alive so I can still be able to teach people about animals and show my sons that I love them, because I'm still more useful now than I would be if I was in a grave. So
Attorney Lacy, let me ask you, why do you think there was no prosecution when she clearly articulated in writing she made it all up? Why was there no prosecution or investigation to prosecute?
Look, this is the type of thing, Dr. Richey, and thanks for the question, that happens a lot, right? Especially when it comes to Black folk, right? Who are encountered by police, especially when police act violently towards them. Somehow or another, those people end up with charges against them, despite whatever the evidence may be. And I really see this as kind of a cover your butt charge to demonize Mr. Strickland and to make people, feel less, moved by his story, so that they won't support him and that he'll feel alone. But we're here with him.
Mr. Strickland, we're out of time, but I would like you to tell viewers, what would you like them to know about you, this ordeal, what you're trying to get accomplished now?
Well, first off, thank you, Dr. Rashad Richey. I watch your show all the time. It's an honor to be on here. But I just want people to know that, I love animals, and my goal has always just been to show people that, this planet is beautiful and worth protecting. There's so many cool animals and plants. I can't wait to teach my sons about it. And I honestly always wanted to be, I've said it before, but I've always wanted to be the black crocodile hunter. But instead of crocodiles, I love snakes. And I just want to be able to hopefully be a light of positivity in this world and just continue to be positive. So thank you, Dr. Richey.
Mr. Strickland, you don't need to hope, dear brother. You are a light in this world. And the fact that you have this desire to continue being a good father.
Yes, sir.
All right? Promise.
Thank you, Dr. Richey.
Thank you. I appreciate you both. Thank you, Attorney Lace, for all you do, man.
All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet. Remember, truth is always indisputable. Welcome to Indisputable. I'm your host, Dr. Rashad Richey. We got a lot happening today. But what do we do on this show? We tell the truth. You know why we tell the truth? Because the truth is simply indisputable.
Rashad, great to be here. Congratulations on the new show. And I gotta let everybody know that Rashad and I go way back.
Here's the pattern that we see in all of these Karen stories. They think they own stuff they do not own. Now, where does that come from? I don't know, maybe slavery. Maybe they think they should still own black people.
This is what happens when Karens weaponize the police.
When you're used to privilege, equality seems like oppression.
It hits you in a certain way when someone is holding you against your will, treating you like you're a criminal and you're an innocent person. This is something that Black people face no matter where they are.
A stronger Black economy lends itself to a stronger, greater economy. Don't think it's exclusive of you, it's inclusive of you.
What's your beef with critical race theory?
It adds more fuel to the fire of the racist tendencies that we already have.
We have a generation of problem solvers that can remedy the problem if they are properly taught what the problem is.
You know who created redlining in this country? It was a white liberal.
I don't give a damn who created it. If it's a racist policy, Shelley, here's what I don't know. I don't know. See, there you go filibustering, brother. You're scared of this truth, but you're gonna get it though.